Oh, and we are live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody, to Orange County Convention Center, Orlando, Florida, RoofCon number 5. I'm with my friend Josie Parks.
That's right.
Hey, man, good to meet you, brother.
Hey, pleasure to meet
How
you.
the hell's it going?
Incredible.
Man, I hear you have some really kick-ass stuff going on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you found the roofing industry?
Well, my family actually growing up was in the trades.
Mhm.
And my dad was actually a construction worker and chased storms, as
Okay.
a matter of fact. And when I was 2 years old, my father was chasing a storm. If you remember Hurricane Hugo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So my dad went out there and he was unfortunately killed in a construction accident
Damn.
chasing the storm.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the trades, my brothers, I'm the youngest of 6. So growing up, they were doing roofs with my dad and involved with the trades. And then when that happened, I mean, he was just a worker.
Yeah.
So my mom, widow with 6 kids, company didn't take care of my family.
Yeah.
And so it really sucks. So, I mean, growing up like that, and I always viewed like, man, what the heck? Why didn't we get taken care of?
Mm-hmm.
And so, trades have always been a thing. And so in high school, I was knocking security systems door to door, selling security systems, making $1,000 a week.
Right.
Talk about beer money in high school.
Absolutely.
It was going.
Yeah.
But and then I got into roofing right after that. So when I was 18, I graduated high school and started in the roofing industry selling metal roofs. And that was like incredible opportunity for me, is just to start selling the absolute best roofing system in my mind,
No doubt.
metal roof. And so I grew that, well, I was 18, I got unprecedented sales. So I actually hold the record for residential metal roofs. So I sold like $6.5 million in a year of just metal roofs. And, at 19, I started my first company, Metal Roofs of Texas.
Okay.
And so it's just metal roofing, and I had a distributorship. And so I had the Dallas market. And so, being in the roofing industry has been just such an amazing blessing and learning experience.
I can 100% relate to that.
It's the best because, come from humble beginnings, and, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And whenever I got into roofing and saw that opportunity, I seized the moment.
No doubt.
And I was a freak. Like I knocked every single day. I remember, Mother's Day, knocking doors, knocking on this one door, and the dude opens the door. It's Mother Day, mother. Like, cussing at me, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But, I was just committed to it. And through that grind and work ethic, I built one of the largest residential metal roofing companies at the time. When I was 26, we did.
Was this in Texas?
Yeah, Texas.
Okay.
So when I was 26, we'd done 22 million that year.
Wow.
I was on CNBC, Blue Collar Millionaires. So that was really cool experience. And the industry changed around that time, and insurance companies started to exclude cosmetic coverage. And so I had a mentor. He was, teaching me how to do retail. And so I've been doing retail for a few years now. He was telling me, he's like, your business is dependent on storms. Your business is dependent on the insurance company paying. He's like, that's a terrible business model for sustainability.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, nah, man, I'm crushing it. I'm taking over. And then cosmetic exclusion completely gutted a lot of my business. And in 2017, I started looking for more opportunities, and I went to Florida, Colorado, kind of checking it out. And then that's when I ended up moving to Florida because I wanted to focus on specialty. That was my game. It's metal roofing. We manufactured it, had shears, folders, roll formers, and everything. So we custom made every single roof.
Wow.
And so it was a good operation. And so I wanted to take that specialty to Florida. And so that's what I did. And, doing roofing in Florida was an amazing experience. A lot of growth, a lot of learning. And, when I got there, the company had about 30 reps at the time. When I finished, we had 250 reps. Wow. And it was quite the experience.
Okay. So all along the way, you were working for other companies?
No, these were my companies.
Okay.
And then, so I had always, built my own companies. I've had a construction company building hotels, concrete company building freaking parking garages, built tech companies. So I'm a serial psycho entrepreneur.
No doubt.
That's built a lot of companies.
It really sounds like it. So let's talk about this metal roofing company you had. So not only was your company installing the roofs, but you were also making the panels.
Oh, yeah. We were making the trims, everything. We were literally making the entire roof from scratch. So we would buy the flat sheets, buy the coils, and we would break it. And it's cool. I went to Kellogg, NRCA. I got picked to get to be a part of this executive training at Kellogg. And there was 5th generation roofers there. And out of all of them, I was the most vertically integrated company. because I bought raw materials and fabricated my own roofs.
That's
So
amazing.
It was really
Now,
cool.
did you end up selling that company?
No, man, I switched that company. So
Okay.
we converted that company, and so now it's actually RoofX. And so, you know, the main focus for our product is a tech experience in roofing.
Okay.
And so now that company, you know, we have about 7,000 solar sales reps in our platform,
Mm-hmm.
and we're installing roofs nationwide. So we're licensed in 40 states now.
Wow. Okay. So the tech, what did you call it?
RoofX.
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 Okay. Now you're selling roofs all over the country. So now you're selling the panels, or
Yeah, no, so that the metal company, we still do metal, but the thing is, it's just a small part because insurance companies change the way they cover metal.
yes.
And so a lot of the business was built on insurance replacement. And
Exactly.
so are you familiar with cosmetic exclusions and how that?
Not a whole lot. We
Okay.
do a lot of retail. So I do know that's a different animal
Got
from
it.
the insurance.
Yeah.
So up north, our company's up north. So we do get some storms,
Yeah.
but not in depth like you would down in Florida or
Got it.
Texas.
Got it.
Yes.
So a cosmetic exclusion basically is excluding cosmetic coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So in the event you have a storm and it hits the roof and it causes a dent, they say it's cosmetic.
Yep.
But the problem with that is it's based on interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's, you know, certain locking systems like aluminum roofs. We did a ton of aluminum.
Oh yeah.
And the locking system has a circular lock. And so when hell hits it, it would pop the lock open, which
Okay.
compromises the integrity of the roof.
Of course.
And they would still say it's cosmetic. And I'm like, y'all don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so I fought that for years and years. And I was just like, man, screw this, you know, insurance company, I tap out.
Yeah.
And so that's when I moved to Florida. So I have right now 9 companies. So
Okay.
I'm you know, the CEO of a couple,
Mm-hmm.
but the majority, my job is to find leaders and empower them and let them run.
Okay.
And so that's my skill set.
Well, with this journey that you've been traveling on and have opened up 9 different businesses, like was this, how did that happen? How do you do that?
I've opened quite a few more than 9.
Yeah,
but
well,
not
yeah.
all. I'm about 50-50. So
Okay. How do you do that? Like just started it from scratch, or did you buy it from somebody else?
Yeah.
Like, tell
No,
us
so I
about
mean,
that.
certain ones like the concrete company I bought from someone else. I was
Okay.
like 25, and I was building hotel. I started to build hotels. My first one was a Spring Hill Suites, and my manager's like, "Man, we need to buy this concrete company. We can control our schedule, make more money." And so I'm like, "All right,
Mhm.
let's do it."
Yeah.
And so I invested, you know, like 250,000, and then about 3 months later, I had 600,000 invested into the
Yeah,
company,
right.
and I'm like, "Where's all my money going,
Yeah,
dude?"
yeah.
I had no clue about it.
Mhm.
So I mean, I've made some terrible mistakes
Right.
when it comes to that, but
Yes.
I've also learned so much.
Of course.
My first business I started from scratch was Designer Glass Specialties, aside from roofing,
Mhm.
and that one's still going strong. I've got, you know, a construction company which I
Yeah.
flipped the personnel building hotels. I built over $100 million in hotels,
Crazy.
and I about broke even throughout the years.
Mhm.
But the team that I had, I realized I have a passion for freedom.
Mhm.
And so Bitcoin mining I view as freedom.
Okay.
And so I don't want government manipulating and controlling me
Yeah.
and my money.
Right.
And so I'm a big believer in that. So I repurposed my team. Now they work for Outlaw Mining, my Bitcoin mining company.
Okay.
And
Amazing.
so, yeah, I have a tech company, Think Unlimited.
Mhm.
Think Unlimited is the most advanced AI in home improvement.
Wow.
There's nothing like it. I can literally predict how much revenue each appointment will generate
Mhm.
from a company level and a rep level. And I can maximize output by assigning the right rep to the right appointment.
Yeah.
And so our use cases, we have a 17% increase
Mhm.
in closing percentage. We have a 10% increase in revenue. So literally, like once you plug in, you're never getting out.
Yeah.
And so we've put so far on that platform over 7 billion of one revenue through our platform, and we're really just getting started.
Yeah.
There's other products we've added on to
Is
it.
that something that you're just using yourself, or
No,
are you selling that?
no, that's for customers.
Okay.
So Think Unlimited. It's
Okay.
it's an incredible
So
product.
is that subscription based, or
You pay per appointment. So we have
Okay.
different packages, but basically
Mhm.
we plug into your CRM
Mhm.
and we build this product to where it automatically tells you which rep you should send to each appointment.
okay? That
And
is
so-
amazing.
And then we also rank and score all your old appointments
Mhm.
and leads and tell you, hey, because resources are limited. We only have
Mhm.
so much
Big
resource.
time,
And if
big
you're
time.
in retail, you understand you buy a lot of
Right.
leads
Mhm.
and you have age leads. And so we rank and score all the old leads to
Yeah.
tell you who you need to focus on.
Mhm.
So, you know, that's one. And there's other companies I have, but it's just been that journey of just failing fast.
Okay,
and
so there's
often.
been a lot of failures, a lot of
Yeah.
successes. Would you say that you've had much more failures than you have successes, or is it the other way around?
I really, it's like 50-50.
Okay.
And what I learned is the businesses that I'm focused on and working on, I've been very successful.
Yeah.
But in the past, because I didn't know any better, I would just invest in other people's ideas and things that they were supposed to be the expert in.
Yeah.
And that's where I failed often. And so I'm not saying I'm the best, but like I work really hard, and I view myself kind of as a category creator. Like AI, I'm not a techie, but I just used to use a notepad and paper writing all the addresses.
Right.
So I started with building a canvassing app in like 2011 with All Trails. It's a bike trail app, and I had all my reps sign into this bike trail app, and they would we would see where they would all go. You could see ground truth where the storm hit. And so it was the first real canvassing app, and canvassing apps didn't even exist. So that started the trajectory of innovation.
What year was that?
That was 2011.
Okay.
Yeah. And so 2016, I was doing optimized routing for my reps, time series data. They would check in, and I was using Salesforce, and they would just check into a route, and we only knocked metal roofs. And so it just automatically take them to the metal roofs they needed to go to. Wow. So it was pretty cool. And that's where it's just really, I don't really fit in a box well. Yeah. And I've made an insane amount of mistakes, but through that, I've learned a ton. And I don't care if I fail. I'm not scared to fail.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the difference between a lot of people. I don't even want to say entrepreneurs or successful or not successful business people, but you got to be willing to take a risk, right? It's like gambling, right? Yep. Those of us that love to gamble, we gamble, but we don't gamble in casinos necessarily, but we gamble in business. Yeah. Right. But I think over the years, and it sounds like you're seasoned well, right? Like this isn't your first rodeo. No. This isn't your first season, but you probably have learned to gamble a little more wisely. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Definitely. Well, so
what do you look for before you gamble, I guess?
I want to have expertise in it. So, whenever I go into a business, like I just bought Total Home Roofing out of Florida. They're a $100 million roofing company. Just closed on that, took that company over. And, I made that bet because I understand this business. I understand the roofing market, I understand storm, I understand retail, understand lead gen, understand culture. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if there's a business where I can get in and understand, and people can't BS me, and I can see through it all, and I move fast. And so that's the thing. So that's that. When I can see that and understand it, I'm going to get involved with it. I'm very strategic in what I get involved with now, because I learned like everyone's not going to be like me. Everyone's not going to care as much, work as hard. Yeah. And so when I look at a business, I want to make sure that I can actually move the needle, and I can create an experience for my people. Number one, the people in the company have to be set up for success. So many times contractors and companies, they just throw bodies at it, not really setting them up for success, not creating an office environment for them to flourish and grow. Right. And so that's what's passionate. Then the customer experience, and if I take care of my people, they take care of my customers and their customers. Absolutely. And so that's really what I built, and just seeing the change in this company in a week, it's insane. And so I'm going to start sharing a little bit more. I've been really in stealth. Like I just don't care to share, be a social media guy. That's just not my thing. I like to create products, and I like to create change. Well, I'm glad that you took the time to come over here and talk to us, because man, it sounds like you have so many wonderful things and so much experience that you should share your experience, strength, and hope with so many more people, because what you've explained to us that you've done is just absolutely astounding to me. I'm sitting there thinking, where the hell did this kid come up with all this money to do this? Because I'm an entrepreneur, and I have a few businesses as well. And, and I know I get caught up in that. And I used to have that same mentality. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable getting involved with something if I didn't understand it, so I can control it, so failure's not an option. Okay. But I've gotten a little more riskier to gamble on things that I'm not, like, I'm not an IT guy. Yeah. I'm not a tech guy. I'm not a SaaS guy. I'm not anything like that, but I've invested in other areas, over the years, where I guess I got a little more riskier. The older I get, maybe I'm not so conservative when I was younger. So obviously you've made a lot of gambles to make that kind of money. I guess I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like, so you felt like that I guess prior to the concrete company, because I feel like that was probably your first investment. Well, that was my third or fourth investment. I bought a limestone company. I mean, a lot of different crap. But when I was younger, I
don't even know where to
I
start.
didn't know any better.
I'm done. I'm just like, seriously, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Let's, can we talk about present day?
Yes, sir.
You want to talk about this?
Let's go.
Can we talk about, tell us what's going on now in your life today? What's happening?
All right. So I am on a mission to bridge blue collar to technology. That's been the mission since 2015. Realized there was a big void. And so I've just been trying to create that path. And I'm on the board of IRE, International Roofing Expo.
Oh, nice.
I'm one of the advisors on Roofing Technology Think Tank. I've always served our industry. I've always been a big part of the industry and giving back on more the professional side of the industry, not the storm side.
Yeah.
I've always been working on the storm side and professional, but being at this place and season, there's a lot of social media influencers now that are beginning. There's a lot of leaders that are rising up.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of fragmented aspects of it as well.
Yeah.
And so I saw a big void when SVG Win the Storm was in Fort Lauderdale last year or this year, 23.
Yeah.
It was really sad, because what brought the industry together kind of died.
Yeah.
And it was just totally different. And, I've one of my fondest memories in the roofing industry is going on stage at Win the Storm, getting Roofer of the Year from Floyd Mayweather.
Wow.
And that was like huge for me.
Yes.
Because, that was like, man, I'm there, made it. And so many people that are friends of mine that I've even seen here, I met at Win the Storm. So there's such a community and such a platform there. And I was sad to see it go. So Hammer hounded me forever. He's like, Josie, you need to do this. You need to do this. And I wasn't really wanting to deal with it because all the other stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I'm a team builder and I'm a visionary. And so that's where like the company can only grow to the leadership.
Absolutely. That's what's called a leadership lid.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I get that.
And I haven't heard that leadership lid. I like that.
Yeah, McDonald brothers had it.
Okay, good.
And they did, and I can't think of the guy's name that actually came in that made McDonald's a franchise. But they were good businessmen, but they just weren't very good leaders.
Yeah.
Right. And that happens. And sometimes leaders get burnt out. Sometimes they stop working on themselves, they get complacent, or they get distracted by shiny things. And sometimes a regime change needs to take place. Just like in a church or a football team. The head coach might have to get fired. Any organization, when the leadership is failing miserably, and usually when a company comes in and buys another company because of the business failing, the first thing there's two things that they do. One, they get rid of the leadership, and people might ask why. And the reason is because if they're any better, they would be doing better, right? Second thing they do is, and I heard you mention it, is they come in and they retrain their team on customer service, better customer service. Those are the top two things when a company comes in and buys another company.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're in the midst of this with SVG and Win the Storm. Quick, small, funny story here. Win the Storm is where Jana and my wife's eyes got open about 7 years ago, was our first roofing conference.
Yeah.
And dude, that was the moment for us. It was like, okay, we are not by ourselves anymore. And that's back when when it was banging on all 8 cylinders.
Yeah.
Like it was popping. That was before this one. It was before a lot of them. It was the only one, I think, other than IRE at that point in time. So we looked forward to going to that every year. We were there last year. We were there the year before. We were there for the past 7 years. We were there, and we've watched it slowly decline. Yeah. And not to anyone's fault, because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but like sometimes things just run their course.
Well, I mean, really, Anthony was the leader, and he lost sight of it.
Yeah. And he got distracted on shiny shit someplace else.
Unmet expectations.
Yeah.
People talk about cocaine and hookers there.
But that was roofing.
That
worked. That worked then.
Old school roofers. Yeah. That was cool for some people. That's what they do when they were storming, whatever.
Yes.
But I'm not here to beat up Anthony or I think it's incredible what he did. When I was going through due diligence with him, understanding more of Anthony's mind, I was like, man, this dude is sharp. Yeah. And a personality to bring the industry together like he did, of freaking outlaws. I mean, stormers, man. You're ride or die, you're feast or famine, you're all out. Yeah. And so not many people will leave what they have and go chase a storm. For sure. But we do. Yeah. And so that's where I really saw a lot of value in that and how he brought the industry together. And so that's what I want to bring, is a platform where all these people can unite and come together, and we can shed light on people that are doing it right. Yeah. We can really build the platform better than ever and way more professional.
No doubt. Good for you, man. So that's really what I wanted to lead up to, was to hear where you are at today. I had no idea. Today's the first day I ever met you, and my mind is blown with where you were, where you came from, and I think it's really cool, and it says something about the kind of person you are to go through what you went through with your father passing away. It's not easy having a loved one. I don't care if it's mom, dad, aunt, uncle. That's not easy, especially your dad, and not having that fatherly figure in your life. But for you to be able to navigate through that, find your own way, and not that there's never a self-made person. There's people who have helped along the way, whether it be your higher power or a networking or mentor or something. So I'm sure you had a lot of guidance, good and bad. I'm sure along the way, a lot of things that you've learned along the way, but it says a lot about the person that you are. And I don't know how I haven't met you sooner. Like, honestly, I really don't. Unfortunately, I didn't know who you were until he kept saying Jonesy, right? Josie. He kept saying, Josie's coming over. Like, I knew you. And it's like, I didn't want to say, Mike, I'm not sure. But if he's your buddy, I'm sure he's a good dude. Have him come on over to the podcast and I'll talk, but he never one time blew you up. Like, Jonesy's got to come on your show. He's this self-made millionaire guy. You got to get him. Nothing. Humble as humble could be. And I'm sure because of your leadership and as humble that you're coming off to me as, because you're not out here showing everybody the size of your socks or anything right now.
I don't care.
Dude, no, man. I'm glad. Thank you for coming on the show, man. And it's
a pleasure, man.
It's been a real pleasure meeting you. And Josie, let's do this again sometime. So before you leave here, let's get each other's contact information. We'll get you back on the podcast and we'll do like an hour-long thing and of where you are today. And then when we get back together, I'd like to hear where you're at now.
Would love that. And to everybody out there, this year's Win the Storm 2024 is in Dallas, Texas, March 14th through the 16th. And I 100% guarantee you'll be the best show ever.
I love that.
Guaranteed. It's going to be professional. It's going to be thought-provoking, and it's going to be the future.
You heard it right here. Win the Storm, March what?
14th through the 16th.
14th
at the Dallas Anatole.
There you go, man.
Boom.
Good shit.
We're going.
Yep. Thanks you for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And for you guys out there in Facebook land, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in about 30 minutes.